Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, host of The Shooting Show. And first of all, friends, we want to thank you for being here with us. And certainly, today, we're so thankful and appreciative to be on at all. You know, last Sunday night, when our program airs for the first time on satellite, I told you folks that I really didn't know if we'd be here today or not. And that's the truth, friends. But enough of you out there care about this project and care about what we're doing. Yeah, we're probably the most politically incorrect program on the air, I would suppose. You know, there are some radio programs that talk about different things, but some of those folks are a little iffy on their facts. Whatever we say on this program, we're very careful that we can back it up. Or if we say we don't know, we'll flatly say we don't know. We may tell something that has been passed on to us. But you see, our business is about telling the truth about guns, about who we are as firearms owners. And that's what the liberal socialists are so afraid of. They're afraid of the truth. You know what? When the truth is presented in a fair light, if the truth just has a fair chance, see, it'll win over lies. But see, we as gun owners, we as American citizens, patriotic citizens that believe in our Constitution and believe that the Bill of Rights says what it means, what it says, see, we're very, very dangerous to the liberal socialists because all they have to work with is lies and distortions. But you know, these folks have taken so many lessons from their hero, Adolf Hitler. And this is one of them. You know, Hitler's group said, if you tell a lie often enough, people will start to believe it. And friends, that's what's happening here. Let me show you something. One of our viewers in California sent us a newspaper clipping, excuse me, from Santa Rosa, California, from March the 5th. And it says here, the Petaluma police probe life of, here's what they call him, a gun hoarder. Now wait a minute. That doesn't sound, a gun hoarder. Now I've never heard that term before. Maybe the guy was a collector. But you see, by changing the word, by changing the language, call him a gun hoarder. Ooh, he must be some kind of bad fella. That's crazy. But this is what they're doing to us. They're doing it in the newspapers. They're doing it on television, more so than anywhere else on television. And it talks about what the guy had. He was fairly well armed, but I don't think a lot of us would call what he had exorbitant. Yet they're trying to make a crazy out of this person here. Now I hope that makes you angry, because it darn sure made me angry. Again, another example of the liberal press, and here we are, our lone voice on television, telling the truth about who we as firearms owners are, who we as patriotic Americans are. Just like, you know, I saw this program on PBS, and I'll be talking about this on, if you heard our other shows today, I probably talked about this already, but I'm going to refresh it. Everyone doesn't get a chance to listen to our gospel show or to our radio show. A friend of ours loaned me a PBS, Public Communist Broadcast Network, a 6-hour collection of tapes based on the American Revolution. It's the darndest thing. It was very well done. Had old James Taylor strumming along there at the beginning. It was pretty nice, you know. Production values were good photography. And you know, it's so amazing how they forgot, the people, producers at PBS, they were talking about how the colonists were able to rise up against the British. Well, you know, they left out what actually kicked it off. The shot heard round the world was at the bridge in Concord, New Hampshire, when the British were on the way to pick up the guns. That's what started our Revolutionary War. That's the thing that really set it off, the shot heard around the world. Well, they kind of left that out. Isn't that amazing? And they never mentioned, not one time, where the citizens got their guns. Didn't say, not one time. Talked about the militia. You know, there wasn't a National Guard. We weren't a country. They had militia, local people that had agreed among themselves that they were going to help defend the community. They were going to have an orderly marching and drill situation. That's all the militia is about. It has nothing to do with the weapons that those farmers had, farmers and blacksmiths and storekeepers. They were American citizens. They had their own personal guns. And you know, it's so amazing. Somebody said, yeah, they on this PBS tape, they said, yeah, they took down a Liberty Bell, or some bell, not Liberty Bell, some bell, and made it into bullets. Now, wait a minute, friends. You ever heard of a lead bell? I mean, it just goes to show how ignorant these people are and didn't do their research. You ever heard of a lead bell? The bell's made of brass. You know, we didn't have cartridges then. Now, they might have made cannon out of it, something else. They might have made parts. They said, yeah, but they were going to make the bells into bullets. Well, they didn't do their homework, obviously, because I never heard of a brass bullet until modern times, the Barnes X bullet, but that was over 200 years ago, and they didn't know about that then. Isn't that amazing? Something else they talked about, and it doesn't matter. I know we have people of a whole bunch of different religious convictions watch this show. We want you to know we appreciate it, because here in America, you're supposed to be free to practice your freedom of religion. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But they somehow left out, they accused George Washington of being very ambitious, and he was upset because the nobility in England didn't give him fair consideration. So was Benjamin Franklin. Well, you know, to be such an ambitious person, when George Washington was offered the position of king over the United States, over the new country, well, he turned it down and said, no, I want to go home and go back to the farm. So that doesn't sound too ambitious. You know, it's so amazing how they rewrite history. And the reason I brought up about faith, George Washington was a very devout Christian. And doesn't matter who you may be, what you may believe watching this program, but I'm telling you what George Washington was. He prayed every day. He was a very devout Christian. And the reason that he was able to carry on was his faith. He just would not give up. You know, he fought 9 major battles. He lost 6 of them. He only won big about 3 times. That's all. The whole army, that's all he did. So he kept losing. And he'd run away and they'd fight another day and they'd lose again. And then they'd run away and they'd fight another and they'd lose again. But he didn't quit. George Washington did not quit. And that's where we are today. We cannot quit. Another little thing, when the PBS series, I went down to the Constitution and they went on how important the Bill of Rights was. Talked about freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, a few other little things that they brought up around that. But you know, they forgot to mention, they kind of skipped over, pretended like it didn't exist, the Second Amendment. They left it out, didn't mention it anywhere. It's like the Second Amendment doesn't count. Let me tell you what, friends, if those colonists had not had personally owned firearms, they couldn't have fought at all. We would still be British subjects and not American citizens if it weren't for the personal ownership of firearms by the colonists. Now, that's the way it was, and that's the way it is today. If we give up our personal ownership of firearms, guess what? We're going to have a police state. A lot of things going on in the country right now, friends. You know, they're holding maneuvers. Invaded Monterey, California. And I'd never heard of Monterey, California being a hotbed of terrorism. Is that the silliest thing? It's a vacation spot, a honeymoon spot. Good gracious alive. What in the world? But they're rehearsing for something. These things are going on all around the country. You know, down in Kingsville, Texas, had maneuvers down there, scared the people in the town half to death. One of our viewers called the state police, said, hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing to it. That's nothing going on. And then it comes out in major media what they're doing down there, having maneuvers. Boys running around in their black suits, black helicopters, their camo, shooting live ammunition among the townspeople. Now, wait a minute. What's going on here? See, what's going on here? Well, guess what, friends? They have some nice surprises for us, but first, before they have their nice surprise for us, they've got to disarm us. Because, you know, someone commented the other day, they pulled one of these mock raids somewhere, and he said, you know, there wasn't too much disturbance about it. But let me tell you what, friends, they start hauling people off, put them in cattle cars. They start going house to house, and there's going to be trouble. There's going to be trouble with their ninjas. I'll bet you that a number of the ninjas that may be brought into a town, a lot of them may not even speak English. What do you think about that? Representatives of your United Nations, the global unionist. Well, you know, friends, that has no place here in the United States. Hey, look what's come out on Slick and Crew in Washington. How long have we been talking about, have you been hearing it here on TV, nowhere else on TV, about the book You're the Rat? How long we've been talking about how Bill Clinton has sold his soul and his office out to the communist Chinese? How long we've been talking about here? And finally, the smell was so bad that even the major media figured, well, we better say something about it. So now they're trying to blame it on George Bush and Ronald Reagan. Hey, they've known about the spying in the Los Alamos laboratory for a couple of years. And guess what? White House said, no, nothing to it, nothing to it, no, nothing to it. And now communist China has nuclear warhead missiles aimed at the United States of America. Now you explain that to me and explain how people can be so doggone incompetent. Maybe they're not so incompetent. Maybe they're not so incompetent. Think about that. Well, you know what? We're talking here about the personal ownership of firearms. If in fact, the communist Chinese turned a couple of those missiles loose, and you know they already threatened to, said if we didn't get out of the Straits of Taiwan, that they might just think about sending a nuclear missile into Los Angeles. Think what kind of social breakdown would come about if in fact we had a nuclear attack on the West Coast. Think about that. Power would be down, the computers would be going crazy, you'd have a breakdown in law and order, you'd have hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who were killed or injured. What kind of social breakdown? Where do you think the police and the National Guard is going to be? Well, what about your home, friends? What about your house? Who's going to defend your family if you don't have anything to do it with? Now think about that. These things, friends, are not some fantastic novel put on the screenplay or in a paperback novel book. This is a real possibility. A real possibility. Do you trust those people in Washington to take care of you? If you do, that's probably one of the greatest mistakes that you can ever make. If you believe Bill Clinton and that mess in Washington is capable of taking care of you, well, I suppose you still believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and who knows whatever else. That's why we're here, friends. We're trying to reach more Americans. It's got to be done. If we don't do it, hey, who's going to do it? You know, I don't see the the National Rifle Society, I don't see them stepping forward, although Charlton Heston had a great speech at Harvard. If they do something good, that's great. If they do something good, terrific. Why don't they join us here on the airwaves? Why don't they try supporting the #1 gun TV show in the world? Why not? Don't know why, okay? Can't worry about that. We're here today. We're here today, and we're going to make our mark. We're trying. Thanks to all of you out there who this week sat down and wrote, a lot of you wrote $10 checks. Some people wrote $25 checks. Hey, that's great, because you know what? We had enough of them come in that here we are again today. It's that close, friends. We appreciate everyone who's ordered the kits, ordered our guns, certainly the AR-15s, the other guns. We've converted several revolvers. Our cartridge has got to gain momentum before it's really going to bring us home, before it's really going to pay the bills. But it is doing it. It's off to a great start. Right now we're getting a lot of calls about information. Again, Tom Gresham, Guns and Ammo, we appreciate them putting something about our cartridge. We're getting a lot of calls for information from people see it in Guns and Ammo magazine. We appreciate that. Well, let me pass one more thing on to you, friends. Hundreds of you call from all over the United States. You view our program, you watch our show. And you know, we try and give the best information imaginable that we can do. We give you our best shot every week. And you know, our viewers call me, you folks out there call, and we talk. Hey, you know something about guns. I mean, you do. One, you're enthusiasts. Most of you, a lot of you, have been watching our show. We've got retired grandmothers who darn sure can tell you what a 1911 is, and what an AR-15 is, and what a single action revolver is, and a lot of the cartridges they shoot. Hey, that's great, because that's got to be done. But let me tell you what, some of these folks that read the magazines, that's all they get is info in magazines. I'll tell you what, friends, that's why we're on TV. We're trying to reach people, because a lot of the folks who read about this stuff are not sure where the bullet comes out on the gun. And that's okay. They're out there and they want to know. It's just we need an opportunity to tell them. Magazines can't do it, friends. Publications alone cannot do it. If it could do it, if it could win this fight, it would have been won a long time ago. They flatly can't do it. We've got to stay on TV. We have to. If we're going to keep our gun rights, if we're going to keep our freedom to own firearms, and we're going to keep, see, that police state is always out there. It's always just over the hill. They have spies watching. It's always there. It's always out there. It's just waiting for the opportunity when we drop our guard. Now, that's always going to, that's human nature. That's the way it works. There's always somebody out there that wants to steal your and my liberty. They're always there. They're always there. So, you know, we have to accept that, so we can never drop our guard. We can never willingly give up our private owned arms. Never. Never. And that's why we're here today, friends. Again, thank you so much if you contributed. Now we're worried about next week. You know, we take it 1 week at a time. Please, if you would, please promote our cartridge and our kits, because it is helping. The kits and cartridges are making a difference. Our AR-15s, the revolvers, it's all making a difference. If you can join our Gun Owner Rights Association. We had someone write to us, a gentleman named Takara from Hawaii, of all places. My goodness, we're reaching out there pretty well. And we appreciate Mr. Takara writing and joining our Gun Owner Rights Association. And let me tell you what, sent me a really neat newspaper here, the Hawaii Rifleman. Hey, there's some shooters and gun owners in Hawaii. Well, that's great, and we are so pleased about that. And we're going to be doing some correspondence with these fine folks, and we really appreciate their consideration. If you can help us, friends, you know, if everyone watches the show, think about this. A lot of people have never contributed. About 99.9999% of the people who watch our program have never contributed 1 penny toward keeping us on the air. Would you please consider? Look, how much is a canned drink and a bag of potato chips? You know, it's not very much, is it? If every week, those of you who care, who haven't contributed anything at all, but think about this. If you would send us the equivalent of what a canned drink and a bag of potato chips cost, that's $1.25. That's $5 a month. If you could, you know, if we had 1,000 people that sent us $5 a month, that would be $5,000 that would go a long way toward helping us stay on the air. Well, friends, we reach tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, but most people won't help. But friends, please think about just the price of a Coke or a canned drink and a bag of potato chips. $1.25 a week. Will you help us? Will you please help us stay on the air? Because, you know, we're not going to back down. We're not going to quit. Please send whatever you can. If you can join our GRA, $50 annual membership, $300 life membership. You can send to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Duberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Our phone number, 318-377-5189. And please check our new website out there. It is absolutely great. It is. Most of you know http://shootingshow.hypermart.net, and then another slash, and it's absolutely great. We appreciate the folks doing that for us. Friends, we have a great show for you today. We're going to check out the Freedom Arms 41 Magnum. Certainly unusual development from them. We'll do a little shooting here, and hey, we got our carbine here, and yeah, remember, we can ship you an upper for your AR-15, only $559. The magazines are expensive, but they are somewhat labor intensive to make, and they're pre-band magazines. They're costing us $50. We'll pass them on to you, same price. You can have the magazines, a 15-round magazine. They're Uzi magazines, what they are. You can have them for the same price we pay for them, $50. If you want spare mags, they've said they have a fair good number of them. So $5.59 for the upper. There's no paperwork. We can send you the kit for your 1911, no paperwork. See, we still believe in Americans. Isn't that a totally unique concept today? We still believe in patriotic Americans. You know, and if there's a few bad people on it, I don't care, as long as we got ours, because they won't mess with us. If we're armed, the bad people don't want to mess with the people that can hurt them. No. So anyway, we've got our bottle out here at 100 yards. Somebody asked me about deer hunting with our 460, and I said, well, I just think it'd be a terrific deer cartridge. You realize that that water bottle out there at 100 yards is about the size of the vital area of an adult deer. Heart-lung area is about the same size. Well, let's just start another program with this, my trusty old Kimber 460 Rowland here, and let's see what happens. Yeah, I'd say it does the job on it, wouldn't you?
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is. This is the great Georgia Arms 45 DA Colt or double action Colt cartridge. This is the first major improvement on the Colt 45 since 1873. They have this in loaded cowboy ammunition. They're also selling brass, so you can load your own combinations. This cartridge case is absolutely a joy to work with. We're even seeing improved accuracy, we think due to the slightly larger rim on our 45 DA Colt case. You can get a free catalog, or you can order these from Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861 for their entire lineup, and please tell them you saw it here on our show. Now friends, of course, the cowboy load is mild but super accurate. And of course, you can take your hand loads up to the limit of what the loading manuals will allow. The great 45 double action Colt cartridge from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, friends. A free phone call with a free catalog.
And of course, Georgia Arms has the best lineup of ammunition for your handgun or for your rifle. Whatever you might have, trust me on this one, they have got the most economically priced premium ammunition that we're aware of that's available in the United States. And yes, they are shipping our 460 Rowland factory ammo. Yes, they are in manufacture and they are shipping it. So please give them a call today. Tell them that you saw it here on our program, 1-800-64-6861, and let's support Georgia Arms, friends, because they're darn sure supporting the shooting show.
Now, friends, here we are. We've got some clouds out here today. Hopefully we'll have enough light to do this particular segment. Very pretty afternoon. Let's go ahead. You know, we looked at this Freedom Arms Model 654 in 41 Magnum last week on the show. Went in depth on it, in fact. And let's shoot the gun and see how it performs. Now, I see these as more or less pure hunting revolvers. Of course, anything that goes bang can be pressed into self-defense, but that's really not what this gun's about. This is a hunting tool. And some of the anti-gun people would probably call this a sniping revolver or something like, who the heck knows what they say. But anyway, these are such well-made and great pieces of work. Let's go ahead, and we're going to run a 5-shot group with a 210 grain bullet at 25 yards, and let's see what it'll do. Hopefully our light will hold out for us. Get our sure sight set here. Okay. Be steady. Remember, be steady. Take your time. All right, let's go down, check our group. Now, friends, I'll tell you what, we know these guns shoot well, but anytime there's 4 in one hole, and I actually bought a little bit here, that is about a ½ inch just over a ½ inch group at 25 yards. You know, I'm really curious to see what it'll do out at 100. We're going to be moving up the hill in a moment. We still have light up there, and we're going to see what it amounts to. But I'll tell you what, that is just terrific. Anytime you can take a revolver and shoot half-inch groups or so at 25 yards, you have tremendous potential at longer ranges. Now, what this means is, out there in the deer stand, when you're counting on that 100, 150-yard shot, which you actually, the 41 Magnum has enough power to make a shot out to 150 yards or so. Those quarter inches at 25 yards variation really do start to make a difference. And we've had some awfully good reports on these guns. I would say that's terrific performance. Just over a half-inch group, 5 shots at 25 yards. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. Let's go to 100 right quick. Friends, I tell you, this is an absolutely terrific day out here on the range. Bear in mind, we're going to try and have our fun gun weekend, before I forget, the first weekend in June. I think it's the 5th and 6th. Check on your calendars. It's going to be at Clark Custom Guns. We're looking for another great time. We really appreciate everyone that has come the last couple of years, and it's only going to get better. It's been, I tell you, it's one of the great events that I think, if you're interested in guns and certainly what we're about, one of the great events you could ever attend. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our 100-yard shooting with, in fact, we're getting toward the time of day that a lot of us would actually hunt deer. And this great Freedom Arms 41 Magnum here with this 2 to 6 power Bosch and Lomb scope, certainly in the bright finish. And let's just go ahead and run some groups down there at 100 yards, and let's see what we can expect out of it. Let's see what it's going to do. And I'm going to use a technique today where we're not going to rest the barrel. We're going to rest the frame of the gun, not the barrel, on our sure sight here. And just kind of see how that works. I think it'll work probably about like that. If we can, yeah, get it down in line. And we're shooting a hand load from here, 210 grain hornady bullet over 20 grains of 2400 powder. 2400 is proven to be one of the great powders for accuracy. And we're using CCI Magnum primers. In this gun, we've chronographed those. That load runs about 1,450 feet per second. And I'm going to try and remember to call Randy Smith out there with Freedom Arms this week and ask him if he'll make a cylinder for the 45 caliber guns they make for our 460 Rowland, because it would be a superior performer in these great Freedom Arms guns. All right, let's see what it'll do. Kind of adjust it in here. Hearing protection in well. Okay, and let me caution you. Always, word of caution, word of safety, always keep your hands and fingers away from the barrel cylinder gap on a revolver, because literally you're talking about gases here that are tens of thousands, 30, 40,000 in some cases, pounds per square inch. Now think about it, and if your finger or hand's up here, it's going to cut you. If it's up too close, it might cut the end of your finger off. So you keep your hands and fingers away from the flash gap on the revolvers. Very important. Okay, let's go on with our group. See what we get. Friends, we're using 2 different loads, and I went ahead and shot a couple of groups. And of course, this Freedom Arms gun, like any other gun, is going to prefer some different bullets. Let me show you something though. This is 10 shots, 2 entirely 2 brands of bullets, 2 types of powder, and I can cover it with the palm of my hand. John Taffin told me, and I just lost one of my earplugs. Oh, I'd taken them out. Anyway, Taffin told me that he has gotten 5-shot groups at 100 yards with with this same gun of 1.5 inches or slightly less. And I believe Taffin, he's not going to lie about something. He's not going to kid about that. And I believe they'll do it. We got one of the 3-shot groups. So I ran 3 here. And my goodness, here's one that's under 1 inch, 3 shots at 100 yards. 3 of this, the last 3 I shot, under 1 inch at 100 yards, 3 shots. Now then, one load he didn't particularly like, obviously. But look where, there's 5 here, my goodness. Not much over 2 inches, actually. What we shot this afternoon, my goodness. In fact, a little bit less, a little bit under. So I would call that, like I said, we just thought as a lark, we'd just shoot them all together, see how it did. I think that's fantastic performance, friends. I think that is fantastic. Of course, yes, these guns are expensive. The Freedom Arms gun, 41 Magnum, all their stuff is so well made, so nicely finished. And if you don't mind spending that kind of money for certainly a more hunting type revolver, these guns will do it. Heck, they'll shoot they'll shoot a lot better than a whole bunch of lever action Winchester rifles, believe me. Shoot better than some bolt action guns too. It's amazing.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. And we want to mention the good folks at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana, one of the most complete gun shops in the entire United States. They do all sorts of things like this specialty meltdown on this new STI gun. Also, they have an excellent staff of people to help you with guns such as these Benelli Super Black Eagles, taking 3.5-inch magnums, a complete line of handguns, semi-automatics, revolvers, all sorts of neat things in the shop there. And of course, here's Mr. Jim Clark himself out helping a customer, some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. They have a complete line of loading supplies, loading tools, gunpowder, you name it, primers, all sorts of accessories for your guns, whatever you might need, certainly within reason. Here's Kay Clark Michelik when she's not winning championships, back working there in the office. And here's her husband, Jerry Michelik, the fastest revolver shooter in the world, when he's not winning championships at work. Here's Jim Clark Jr. back on the lathe, the same drill, when he's not winning championships, working right there in the shop. That's why you can get such complete quality of product and expertise here at Clark Custom Guns. Friends, give them a call today, area 318-949-9884. They have a great catalog. We appreciate them supporting our project. Now, friends, due to an overwhelming response after we played our song there last week, A lot of you really liked what it has to say, and so let me give you fair warning. Go ahead, if you want to tape this, you certainly are welcome to. Get your tape players fired up there and punch the button to record. So here it is again. This is our song called America, Where Have You Gone? Hope you enjoy it again.
Okay, I'll try. Stem on the studio. Take 44. You ready?
Johnny, get it right this time.
I'll certainly try. I'm going to try, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, let's try and do it.
Once upon a time, men were free, could follow their dreams in liberty. But now there's a darkness that hides what we used to see, and we ask ourselves, just what do we truly believe? Oh, America, where have you gone? Oh, America, what have you become? Once we had a voice free to sing. Once we could say, let freedom ring. But now greed and power grip us all, and the liars and the cheaters have set us up for a fall. Oh, America, where have you gone? Oh, America, what have you become? In faith we celebrated all things good, and if we were free, most still would. But the tyrant's hot breath chills us all. For God and country, won't you please hear our call? Oh, America, where have you gone? Oh, America, what have you become?
Now, friends, you know this is supposed to be fun, and darn right it certainly is sometimes, a whole lot of the time actually. We're down on the range, got our truck lights on our target, and let's see what this Freedom Arms gun will do over here shooting in the dark. Let's find out. Yeah, that shooting a little 296 there. Boy, it lights up tonight, doesn't it? Now, friends, you know, this is about having fun. We got our truck lights over here. Obviously, you can see. We shot this group, the 200 grain bullet, darn near as good in total darkness, or almost total darkness, as earlier this afternoon. We had another group that wasn't as good, but the gun didn't particularly like that particular load. But this 200 grain Hornady, over 20 grains of 2400 with CCI Magnum primers in Starline cases. Friends, let me recommend Starline cases. We have had superior performance. And you know, Georgia Arms is loading our 460 Rowland in Starline cases. They're just superior. You can buy them. We appreciate them working with us. That was great, but we have seen very, very consistent performance from the Starline brass. Let me put in a plug for them, but this is really an amazing gun, this Freedom Arms gun, because of the workmanship, of the quality. Heck, you can shoot as good in the dark, and no, I haven't zeroed it. If the gun were mine, which it's not, and I was going to have it for an extended period, which I don't expect to, we would certainly zero it. But it's just amazing what is capable of these very fine revolvers. There are a lot of other fine revolvers, but I tell you what, for what it is, this Freedom Arms gun, model 654, is just a super combination. Now, since we're down here at the range in the dark and we've still got some ambient light, let me show you something. We've got our 41 Magnum here, the Freedom Arms gun, but we have a load here with a Winchester 296 powder, which is somewhat of a high flash powder. And let's show you the difference. You know, in the daylight you won't really see muzzle flash, but let's compare this to the powder we're using on our 460 Rowland. Let's just see what happens. Here is the 41 Magnum with a full load of 296 powder. Let's take a look at it. Whew. I believe you could see that from a long way off, couldn't you? Why do you think there are flash hiders, right? Shoot another one. So you see, we're talking about a very bright flash. Now then, our 460 with a full charge of accurate number 7, actually the same power level, in fact a little hotter than this 41 Magnum, of course, even in the great Freedom Arms gun. What we're talking about here, of course, on our 460 is 44 Magnum class power, and let's see how much flash we get with it. Let's just look and see in the dark out here. See, a little orange flame, that's all you got. Not very much. See, it's just not the same thing. You get a little flash, but not nearly enough to blind you. If you had to use our 460 in a defense situation, or a police officer had to use it in the dark, even with the compensator. You know, we've had a number of people ask, well, won't you have a lot of muzzle flash? Well, look for yourself. You can see the gases from the compensator a little bit, but you can also see it is not very severe. And this is with the very hot load, 1550 plus, out of this great Kimber 1911. So that's why in defensive applications, low flash powders, something that can't be seen, because realize if a soldier's in combat, you want a low flash signal, so the enemy can't see where it's coming from. If you're a police officer in a dark building or something, or in a dark alley, you don't want too much flash, because one, your eyes will have to readjust to the ambient light after you have this flash bulb type thing go off, and two, you don't want your opponent, if you're having to try to apprehend a criminal, you don't want him to see where you are, because there might be 2 or 3 of them. They'll start shooting at the muzzle flash. Certainly in a homeowner situation, the low flash powders like what we're talking about here are very desirable, because in your darkened home, if you had to defend yourself, you darn sure want to be able to do it quickly and not blind yourself, because you've got to see what's going on. I mean, there may be people running. Maybe there was more than one opponent. Who the heck knows? Maybe you'll have one of your kids or somebody run into the room or something. Well, you don't want to be blind and just start blasting away. You want to have your vision. So the low flash powders for self-defense have some huge advantages.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here we have our AR-15 conversion unit for our 460. Realize I've taken the magazine out just to be sure, but all you have to do, if you already have an AR-15, all you have to do is take off the two pins. There's one here in the back and one here in the front. This one has a screw retaining it. Some of them do, some of them don't. And just take off the whole top end of the gun, and you've got the buffer back here. Our kit comes with a larger recoil buffer, of course, and a better spring than your original AR-15 has, a little stronger spring. But you put that in it, that's all there is to it. On some of the Colts, such as this one is my old Colt I've had for years, it had a little block here behind the hammer's right there, had a little block that we had to grind down. This does not affect the function of your gun whatsoever, but to get the larger recoil buffer in it, we just had to trim that a little bit with a file grinder. Again, this is nothing illegal, has nothing to do with function of the gun, and that's all you have to do. On most of them you won't even have to do that, but on some of the newer Colts, certainly this one's probably 10 years old, you've just got to remove a little bit of material there so you can get the recoil buffer in. It's very simple, just takes a couple of minutes to do it. And this, of course, makes your AR-15 into what we like to call a real gun. You know what I'm saying? So, a great conversion here, only $5.59 plus $12 shipping. And the complete gun is $8.49, the same price as our Kimber convertible. And remember now, just like on the convertible kits for the handgun, it's $2.75 plus $5 shipping. There's no paperwork involved. We can send this to your house. And yes, Georgia Arms does have factory ammo. So give them a call down there. Their standard number, 1-800-624-6861. Yes, Georgia Arms has factory ammo, and they are shipping. So please give them a call. I tell you what, friends, and please promote this concept to your gun club, to your fellow shooters, because let me tell you what, friends, the sales on the kits and the guns is going to help us remain on the air and certainly ensure the future of the Shooting Show project. So please promote our 460 Rowland if you don't mind, because it is a humdinger. So please help us there, because every dollar we make goes toward keeping us on the air.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying our program today. I tell you what, one of the neat things is we never know what we're going to do week to week. Well, sometimes we have a clue, but we certainly had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that night shooting. And by the way, the truck lights were on the target while we were shooting through the scope. And what you get is very fine definition when you're looking at your sights or your scope when When your gun is dark, everything is dark except you've got the white paper with a little mark on it there as your target. So that is certainly one way of really testing for accuracy, is out there shooting in the dark, but of course having your target lit. We are having such the neatest letters and the neatest responses to the people who have bought our kits, and we're so appreciative of those of you who have. Some of the folks that have bought the first kits are now coming back getting the top end for the AR-15 or buying the complete rifle for that matter. So that's something that we're really excited about, because you know what, friends? This fight's not going to go away. Chucky Schumer is now talking about how he's upset because you can buy guns across the internet. That's crazy. He is our arch enemy in the Senate right now. You can't buy a gun across the internet. He's a nut. It's still got to go to a dealer somewhere and go through all these ridiculous background checks. Heck, you know, you used to be able to buy handguns in the mail and we didn't have a crime problem. Do we have a politician problem? Do we have a moral problem? Think about that. You know, that general who was misbehaving with some of his subordinates' wives has really been in a lot of trouble. What about the commander-in-chief? It's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to put Bill Clinton in the general scheme of things with commander-in-chief. But you know what? In order to fix the problems we have in our country, we've got to get in the fight. Can you help us stay on the air? Can you help us? You can join our gun club. You can contribute. If those folks who haven't contributed, if you just got $5 a month, if that's all you can do, we need it here to stay on the air and reach more people, friends. Please, if you can. Please remember, our kits are $275 for the automatics, $275 plus $5 shipping, and various other prices on the revolver conversions and things. But friends, we're doing everything we can to stay on. If you'd like a CD, we're going to have a CD capability on a small manufacturing numbers through our good friend Bob Millsap. So if you'd like a CD, we're going to have them for sale with more songs, of course, our new song on it and others. Please, friends, send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Doverly, Louisiana. The zip code 71024. Our phone number 318-377-5189. And certainly anything we can do, we're going to try to stay here. I want to recognize our support group. We've got our friends at Steadcraft, a custom machine shop in Torrington, Connecticut. Their number is area 860-496-7001. We have Dennis Crocker, a very fine firearms trainer in South Carolina. To reach Dennis, you can call him at area 864-587-8722. We have Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie with custom leatherwork and saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Their number is area 504-667-9225. We have Camouflage Technologies, the folks that paint such spectacular patterns on gun stocks. Their number is area 909-674-6488. For artwork on the internet, you can go to Flying Horse Galleries at www.flyinghorse.net. And for work on pistols and revolvers, you can call our friend Bruce Warren with BC Armory, area 616-729-5508. And also the Little River Trading Company in Cadiz, Kentucky. They specialize in Confederate Civil War memorabilia. Their number is area 502-522-6167. And friends, let me remind you, if you're getting more than one copy of our Shooting Show newsletter, please call me and let me know, because that's a copy we can send to someone else. If you're getting more than one copy in your household, please tell us and we can send that on to someone else. It does cost. Friends, please remember our radio show on the American Freedom Network from noon to 2 o'clock Eastern Time on SpaceNet 4, channel 19, 5.82 audio. And please remember our gospel show on Sunday morning from 10 to 10:30 Eastern Time on G6, channel 7. Friends, please help us if you can. You know, remember, we're here because of your contributions and your help on our cartridge project, on everything we're doing. Thank you so much for being here with us this week. We're not going to quit. We look forward to seeing you on the next program.